Even as we grieve, we give thanks for this most faithful life. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty.
For over 50 years, a secret lay at the center of the British monarchy. It wasn't locked away in a vault or stored in a palace archive. Rather, it was carried by one man. This man spent decades being told how to feel, who to love, and what to say. Though he was born into one of the most powerful thrones in the world, he spent most of his life following orders. Now, at 77 years old, after a cancer diagnosis, a brother who lost his titles, and a monarchy he is trying to save, King Charles III has begun to confirm what many people around the world have long felt. Once you understand the full story, the palace cover-ups, the forced marriage, the illness he kept hidden, the brother he cut off, and the son he lost, you will see the British royal family in a new light. Stay with me. This story is not what you think. The forced marriage, the secret of Charles carried down the aisle. Let's start at the very beginning of the biggest secret in modern royal history. On July 29, 1981, Prince Charles married Lady Diana Spencer at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. About 750 million people watched the wedding worldwide. It seemed like a fairy tale, but the reality was different. The night before the wedding, Prince Charles reportedly cried, not from happiness, but from sadness. He loved another woman, Camilla Parker B.S., who would not be his bride. The biography Prince Charles, The Passions and Paradoxes of an Improbable Life, reveals that Charles felt pressured to marry Diana. He was conflicted and heartbroken. On his wedding day, he wore cufflinks with Camilla's initials, a gift from her to keep her in his thoughts during a difficult time. Camilla was also at the wedding, sitting with her husband, Andrew Parker B.S. Why did Charles go through with this marriage? The answer lies in tradition and duty. In 1981, there were strict rules about who a future king could marry. Camilla was seen as unsuitable because she had a past and was not a virgin. The royal family believed that a future queen needed to have a completely clean background to avoid scandal. Because of this, the palace encouraged Charles to marry Diana, who came from a respected family and was unaware of what was happening. Diana later described her marriage with the famous words, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." From the beginning, the truth was there. Charles carried this secret through his marriage, affairs, divorce, and Diana's death. Until recently, he did not fully acknowledge the role of the palace's rules in this tragedy. Now, at 77, he is starting to confront this issue as he considers his own mortality. Camillagate, when the secret exploded in public. For years, rumors circulated about Charles and Camilla's affair. On January 17, 1993, those rumors became public. A 6-minute phone call from 1989 was published in British tabloids. At the time, Charles was married to Diana, and Camilla was married to Andrew Parker B.S. The call revealed their close relationship, leaving no doubt. This call is known as Camillagate or Tampongate. It was not just embarrassing. It shocked many people. It confirmed Diana's suspicions, the knowledge of palace insiders, and showed the public that the monarchy had been hiding the truth. How was the call made public? Richard Stowe, the former Daily Mirror editor, explained that a man in Muryside picked up the royal signal with an electronic device while at home. He recognized the voices and gave the recording to a newspaper. This act broke the palace's silence. The revelation upset Buckingham Palace. Diana's bodyguard Ken Wharf said the backlash was fierce. Queen Elizabeth II, who always aimed to protect the monarchy, was angry, not just about the call, but about the scandal it created. The Camillagate affair is important because it highlights Charles's ongoing struggle with the palace's culture of secrecy and the shaping of stories. For decades, this approach worked, but cracks were always visible. Now at 77 as king, Charles is starting to realize that a monarchy built on secrets is always at risk of collapse from one new revelation. The cancer confession among breaking a royal taboo. King Charles III surprised many, including his critics, with an important announcement in February 2024. Buckingham Palace revealed that he had been diagnosed with cancer. Doctors discovered this during a routine examination for a non-cancerous enlarged prostate. Further testing confirmed the diagnosis. This moment is significant because no British monarch had ever publicly shared such health information before. For centuries, the royal family kept the monarch's health private. The public often did not know about illnesses or received only minimal information. Queen Elizabeth II's health was closely guarded, especially in her last years. It would have been unthinkable for a reigning king to publicly say, "I have cancer." In earlier times, Charles changed this tradition. He not only announced his diagnosis but also made cancer awareness a key part of his public duties. He visited cancer treatment centers, met patients, hosted events for cancer charities at Buckingham Palace, and appeared in a video for Channel 4's Stand Up to Cancer campaign in December 2025. Experts called it one of the most personal and open addresses of his reign. In that video, he described the past 2 years as a time of uncertainty, treatment, and gratitude. He did not specify the type of cancer, as palace advisors felt a general message would reach all cancer communities. His emotional honesty was clear. He said, "I know from my own experience that a cancer diagnosis can feel overwhelming. Yet, I also know that early detection is the key that can transform treatment journeys." By December 2025, his doctors said his treatment could be reduced in the new year. Buckingham Palace announced that he was moving into a precautionary phase. The chief executive of Cancer Research UK remarked that when Charles spoke publicly, many people sought cancer screenings across the UK. In sharing his experience, Charles revealed that the monarchy does not have to keep secrets about health. At 77, fighting cancer and witnessing scandals involving the royal family, he chose to be open. In doing so, he became one of the most relatable monarchs in recent history. The brother he was forced to protect, then cut off. Now, we come to perhaps the darkest chapter in Charles's story as king, and it involves his younger brother, Andrew. For many years, the palace kept quiet about Prince Andrew, even as allegations about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein surfaced. Virginia Jeffrey claimed she was trafficked and had sex with Andrew when she was just 17. His infamous BBC interview in 2019 is considered one of the worst crisis management performances in British television history, yet it didn't resolve the issues. The palace said little. The monarchy dealt with the scandal, and Andrew stepped back from royal duties. The public was left wondering whether the monarchy was protecting its own, rather than being accountable. When Charles became king in 2022, things started to change. In October 2025, as more of Andrew's connections to Epstein came to light, including details from Ju's memoir, who tragically later took her own life, Charles took a significant step. He removed all of Andrew's titles, styles, and honors, including his title of prince, which he had held for his entire life. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he is now called, was also told to leave Royal Lodge, his home, for over 20 years. Constitutional law expert Craig Prescott stated that the monarchy needed to separate Andrew from the rest of the royal family clearly. Then, in February 2026, Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Charles expressed his deepest concern and said that the law must take its course. This statement was careful and measured, but it was also remarkable for an institution that had often said very little for decades. In this chapter, Charles is confirming what many people suspected. The monarchy prioritized its own protection over accountability for years. Now that he is in charge, Charles has decided this must change. Whether he is motivated by genuine belief or the realization that Andrew is too risky to protect, the result is clear. The king has severed ties. The lost son, Harry, and the wound that won't heal. King Charles's secrets would not be complete without mentioning his troubled relationship with his younger son, Prince Harry. Many people know the basic details. In 2020, Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties and moved to the United States. In 2021, they gave a shocking interview to Oprah Winfrey. Then, in 2023, Harry published his memoir, Spare, which included claims of physical fights with William and a distant relationship with Charles. Harry described the royal family as prioritizing the press over his well-being. What is less talked about is how this separation affects Charles personally as he begins his reign. Insiders say that Charles and Harry last met in person at Clarence House in September 2025 during one of Harry's legal issues that brought him back to the UK. This meeting was brief and private, leaving many issues unresolved. Reports in early 2026 suggest that Harry and Meghan might think about moving back to London. If this happens, it would need careful planning within the royal family. Perhaps the biggest secret here is Charles's deep pain as a father who has lost his son in such a public way. Now at 77 and facing a cancer diagnosis, he holds a quiet hope for reconciliation, even if he never says it out loud. This hope may be the most personal secret Charles carries. The monarchy Charles is quietly rebuilding. King Charles is quietly changing the monarchy to fit his vision despite facing health issues, the Andrew scandal, and his difficult relationship with Harry. Many of these changes are things that Queen Elizabeth II would not have accepted. For his coronation in May 2023, Charles chose a ceremony lasting about 1 hour, unlike the 3-hour event for his mother in 1953. This choice shows a respect for tradition while also moving away from it. In October 2025, Charles became the first British monarch since the Reformation to pray with a pope. That same month, he opened the UK's first national memorial for LGBT armed forces veterans, showing his support for the LGBT+ community. In May 2025, he opened the 45th Canadian Parliament in person, the first time a Canadian monarch had done so since 1977. New British passports introduced in late 2025 featured Charles's personal coat of arms for the first time. In a step towards financial responsibility, he approved the end of the royal train, which had been in use for 180 years. Charles aims to leave a monarchy for William that is simpler, more open, more engaged with the world, and less reliant on the old traditions that have caused more harm than good. What Charles is finally admitting about himself. King Charles III has finally become king after waiting 70 years. During those years as the heir, he had to hold back his opinions and conform to the monarchy's expectations. Now at 77 years old, he is king and has received a cancer diagnosis that has made him more aware of time. He deals with a fractured family and faces multiple pressures on the monarchy. He has also made mistakes, kept secrets, and loved in complicated ways, but is striving to be authentic. His recent actions show that he is not revealing any shocking secrets. Instead, he highlights that he spent his life playing a role before he could truly be himself. He is now trying to be honest with the public, the institution, and possibly himself. By disclosing his cancer, he broke a long-standing royal taboo. His efforts to modernize the monarchy and openly discuss illness suggests that he is ready to stop performing and just be himself. Diana, in her famous interview, mentioned there were 3 people in her marriage. This is also true of Charles, Diana, and Camilla, who struggled under the monarchy's expectations. 2 of them are now free, but Charles, at 77 and facing cancer, is finally telling the truth from the throne he waited a lifetime to occupy. This situation means the British monarchy, an ancient and secretive institution, is starting to change. At the center is a man who is expected to be simple and strong, but has shown complexity and vulnerability. How history judges Charles will depend on what comes next with Harry, the institution, his health, and the ongoing revelations. However, it is clear that at 77, Charles is starting to let go of the secrets he has carried for so long. If this message resonates with you, please like and subscribe to follow this important journey, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Does King Charles deserve more credit, or has the monarchy's history of secrets caused too much damage? I'll see you in the next update.